Welcome to Storied Audio. Emily Parker and Kathy Lawson had been best friends since they were old enough to toddle around the sandbox at the neighborhood park. Their mothers often joked that they had been inseparable since diapers, and in many ways it was true. Where Kathy was bold and chatty, Emily was thoughtful and careful. Their personalities fit together like puzzle pieces. But there was one crack in the harmony of their friendship: Daniel Lawson, Kathy's older brother. From the very beginning, Daniel and Emily had been like oil and water. He teased her relentlessly when they were kids, pulling her braids or making fun of her cautious ways. She fired back with sharp comebacks, usually ending in Kathy groaning loudly, "Can you both just stop?" Kathy grew up as their permanent referee, arms crossed while her brother and best friend bickered. By the time they were teenagers, nothing much had changed. If Daniel was around, Emily's eyes rolled so often she thought they might get stuck. He'd smirk, say something irritating, and she'd bite back with words just sharp enough to keep up the feud. It was their rhythm, their habit, growing up, not growing apart. Years later, Emily and Kathy found themselves in their 20s and ready to conquer the world, or at least their corner of it. They moved into a small apartment together in the city, splitting rent and decorating with thrift store finds. It wasn't glamorous, but it was theirs and they loved it. Daniel, however, remained a frequent visitor. He lived only a few blocks away and would drop by to check on Kathy or borrow random things like a phone charger or even leftover lasagna from the fridge. Every time Emily saw him leaning against their counter with that smug grin, she bristled. "Don't you have your own kitchen?" she snapped. "And miss out on your sparkling personality," he replied, smirk firmly in place. Kathy would just shake her head. One night, after Daniel left, she nudged Emily with a grin. "You know, I think he likes you." Emily nearly choked on her tea. "Likes me? Kathy, your brother lives to irritate me." "That's what boys do when they like someone," Kathy teased. "You should have seen him in middle school. You're basically watching history repeat itself." Emily waved her off, cheeks burning. "That's ridiculous." And yet, the idea lingered. Life carried on until one rainy Tuesday evening when everything shifted. Emily, exhausted after a long shift at work, drove home with windshield wipers fighting the storm. She didn't see the car that slid through the stop sign until it slammed into her side. The hospital stay was short, but the fracture in her leg meant weeks on crutches and no driving. "I'll manage," she told Kathy stubbornly, though panic simmered beneath her calm. She didn't expect Daniel to show up the next morning, leaning casually against her hospital doorway. "I'll drive you," he said simply, as though it had already been decided. Emily blinked. "Excuse me. You heard me. You need someone to get you around, and Kathy can't always do it. So I'll handle it." "I don't need." "Yes, you do." His tone left no room for argument. "Unless you plan to hop to work on those crutches." Her pride told her to refuse, but practicality won. "Fine," she muttered, "but only until I'm back on my feet." His grin widened. "Whatever you say, Parker." A different side of him. The first few days were awkward. Emily sat stiffly in his car, pretending she wasn't grateful when he jogged around to open the door for her. He always steadied her carefully when she maneuvered her crutches, his hand firm at her elbow. "Don't look at me like I'm fragile," she snapped one morning. "Not fragile," he replied smoothly. "Just stubborn. There's a difference." Despite herself, she felt her lips twitch. Over time, the bickering softened. He still teased her, but it was gentler now, threaded with warmth instead of sharp edges. They began to laugh together, really laugh. One day, when a group of men on the street whistled and catcalled as Emily hobbled past, Daniel immediately stepped between them and her. "Keep walking," he said firmly, shoulders squared. She'd never seen him so serious. It startled her and warmed her. That night, she couldn't stop replaying the moment. Maybe Kathy's joke wasn't so far-fetched after all. A few weeks later, Kathy announced she was heading out of town for a weekend trip. "You'll be okay without me?" she asked. "Of course," Emily replied, though the thought of managing alone was daunting. "Don't worry," Daniel cut in. "I'll stay over and make sure she doesn't break her other leg trying to carry groceries." Emily opened her mouth to argue, but Kathy shot her a look that said don't fight it. So she sighed and agreed. That Friday night, Daniel showed up with grocery bags and a grin. "Chef Lawson reporting for duty. You can cook. Prepare to be amazed." To her surprise, he wasn't kidding. He whipped up pasta, garlic bread, and salad, cracking jokes that had her laughing harder than she had in weeks. After dinner, they sprawled on the couch, the TV flickering softly. Emily glanced at him, catching the way his eyes crinkled when he laughed at his own dumb joke. Something fluttered in her chest, unexpected but undeniable. Before she could talk herself out of it, she leaned forward and kissed him. The second it happened, her face went scarlet. "I don't know why I did that," she stammered. Daniel smiled, eyes warm. "I do. And for the record, I've wanted to do that for years." Her breath caught. "You what? Why do you think I picked on you so much? You were the only one who could keep up with me." This time, she didn't roll her eyes. She leaned in again, without hesitation. By the time Kathy returned from her trip, everything had changed. Emily and Daniel were inseparable, their banter now laced with affection. Kathy raised her eyebrows when she walked in on them, curled up together on the couch. "Well," she said, dropping her bag with a dramatic sigh. "Took you too long enough." Emily groaned, covering her face. Daniel just smirked and pulled her closer. Years later, when Daniel got down on one knee and Emily said yes through happy tears, Kathy threw her arms around them both. "Dibs on maid of honor," she declared instantly. They laughed, just as they always had. But this time, the laughter was full of promise. A promise that sometimes, the person you thought you'd never get along with could end up being the person you'd love forever. Subscribe to the channel for more audio stories.